introduce our moderators, Jason and Karen from the Walking Dead cast. And one of the nicest gentlemen I have ever met, IronE Singleton.
Who you gonna call?
Well, I'll pay you after the panel.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Indeed. How are you, darling? Hi. Your reaction out in the hallway was vintage. Oh, I have my mic on. What? Okay, I'm already mic'd. Emma, I didn't have to go to your
You're
mic.
right there. You get the VIP seat.
Very. Oh, wow. I feel special. You guys love me?
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you. I love you back. Wow, so I get to talk about all my problems? Okay, go ahead, shoot. You know,
Tell us about your childhood.
I have nightmares. That bite just lives on, and I'll never forget about it.
Oh, you got post-traumatic death syndrome.
Yes, indeed.
I want to tell you, everybody out in the audience, we're going to ask a couple questions, but whoever lines up here first is going to be the first one that gets to ask a question. And as soon as we see people lined up, we're going to move to you. So don't let us all ask all the questions that you want to ask. Go ahead and start lining up now.
So we're going to warm IronE up, but then we want you guys to ask questions too.
Mic here, okay.
Are you good? You're
I'm
on?
good, yes ma'am.
All right.
Let's talk.
Okay, so you were so good, and we were so sorry to see you go. We really, really were. And we wanted to see the big confrontation with Merle. So
I know.
were you looking forward to that as much as we were?
I was looking forward to that because I think we were building up to it seemed like. And for all of season 2, right? Everybody was like, when is the showdown coming between Merle and T-Dog? And when it didn't happen, I think a lot of people were disappointed, as well as I.
What do you think would have happened?
Oh. Is Merle in here right now? He's not in here. He's not in here, right? No, he's in LA. He's in LA. Yeah, I would have won.
Yeah. You deserved it. So I don't know if this is right, but I read that the way T-Dog died was not the way it was originally scripted, and you guys did some improvising on set. Is that right?
As far as
Protecting Carol.
Well, Glenn, Mazzara, who was the showrunner at the time, he knew that I played football at UGA. Go dog, sick 'em. That's right. Rooker gives me a hard time for that. I wish he were here in Atlanta to hear that dog bark, that bark right there. So he knew I played football, and he was like, you know what, Arnie, I want you to give me one of those linebacker moves. Just give me what you got, and I want you to take out 2 walkers at one time. Maybe that was probably, I guess, what you're talking about.
I thought I heard that because you ended up kind of going out as a noble hero. You saved Carol and sacrificed yourself.
That's the best way to go out, right? I think.
That's right.
If you're gonna go out in a blaze of glory. The executives came to me, and they were so appreciative, because of what I guess T-Dog brought to the show. They told me, and they said that they wanted me to have an honorable death, and they said that they weren't going to take it any other way. And so they said you're going to be very pleased with how your character dies on the show. So yeah, I think maybe there were other intentions, but it ended up happening that way. I'm thankful. It's a true blessing. God is amazing.
That's cool.
Indeed.
So I was actually an extra at one point, and I was on the show, and I was there with you the night of the finale. The season 2 finale.
Man. What were you, a zombie?
Yeah.
Tell them about the barn scene when it exploded, and all the walkers, they were walking slowly like this, and then when that barn exploded, they didn't know it was coming. They did this. Tell them about that. You remember?
so cold that the barn, and we're like, oh.
The heat felt good, didn't it? It was 27 degrees that night.
Hell yeah.
It was freezing, guys. It was cold.
But another thing I remember is I was just standing there in this group, and I saw you walking around, and I just saw you, and I'm like, oh my God, there's T-Dog. And I think you noticed, I didn't say anything, but you just came up, walked through a couple people, and shook my hand. And I was like, man, that's so cool. He's like,
I felt the energy, brother. That's what kindred spirits.
and what interests what interests me about you is that I've seen you, you know, in interviews, you have this like magnetic presence and you have this aura, but T-Dog, I wouldn't say so much had that, maybe a little, but did you just have to like turn down the knob on yourself on purpose for that? Because he was just kind of an average dude, a likable dude, but...
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I guess I had to turn it down a bit because it's the apocalypse.
Not a lot of fun.
Not a lot of fun. So, I couldn't be me on the set. Yeah, I had to do that though, definitely.
What do you think T-Dog did before the zombie apocalypse? Did you ever explore his backstory?
Yeah, you know, when I do my character work, I always go back as far as I can in my life. And, you know, and then I bring it as far up to the present time as possible. So my story for T-Dog was basically he grew up in Atlanta, GA. He was born at Grady Hospital, which is my story basically. Born at Grady baby. And he grew up in the inner city, and he ended up getting a scholarship to play ball in college. And he majored, not in theater like I did. I majored in theater. He would have been a little bit too over the top. I already got a lot of flack for that from season 1. They're like, T-Dog's kind of over the top. But the apocalypse had just begun. See, so you have to remember, like, these zombies are like, what is this? This was new. This was new to T-Dog. It's like, I don't understand this world. But if you think about it, in season 2, I kind of calmed T-Dog down a little bit, you know? Because I was like, I'm used to this world. We had been in that world for over a year at that time. So I was used to it, and so I was a little more restrained, so to speak. But the first season, I was just trying to understand those walkers. So he grew up in the inner city, played football, he graduated. Let's say he was a business major or something like that. And he was a white-collar / blue-collar worker or something like that. And he was very involved in the church, a deacon or something. And he picked up, Glenn told you the story, you know the story, Glenn, you know. Picked up the elderly folks and took them to the church and did what he could to just kind of make the world a better place, you know?
He was a good guy.
Oh, thank you.
I noticed a couple of scenes that I thought were pretty interesting. One, I think this is one of my favorite scenes with T-Dog, is when you were sitting by the RV with Dale and he was kind of going a little crazy with his wound and everything. What was that like?
It was incredible, because as I explained in my book, Blindsided by the Walking Dead, in an ideal world, Dale or Jeffrey DeMond would have been my father. So in an ideal world, because we would have these chats, and Jeffrey, he has kids, he's full of wisdom, and he has kids, I have 3 children, and all the stories he shared with me and how great of a father he is, it would be hard for you to imagine, and all of the great experiences that he gave them. And so I kind of imagined, like, wow, man, that's what I would have wanted, because I never had my father there. I saw my father twice in my life, so we never had a relationship. And to be opposite him, he's also a legend in the industry. So somebody, a brilliant actor such as Mr. DeMond, I was just looking forward to that opportunity. And I was like, I better come with it, or else he's gonna send me home crying. Give me a little spanking and send me home.
But he rose to it, didn't he? He rose to it.
Thank you.
Awesome. But one thing I noticed about that is T-Dog was suggesting that, let's get in the RV and leave these guys. And then, but it was, I felt like it was a delirium. Then later on, you're in the truck with Lori and Beth. And you're like, let's get out of here and leave these guys. You wanted to go to the coast.
That's right. And looking in retrospect, I think that we should have gone to the coast. Yeah. alive today.
And maybe Lori.
Yeah.
I keep saying Hawaii. Everybody should just go to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
It's
That's the
nice
place.
there.
Spin-off.
It's beautiful. So you were also in the movie The Blind Side, and you played tough guy in The Blind Side. So what's it like sort of playing more of a tough guy? Do you prefer that, or do you prefer a wonderful fellow like T-Dog?
I prefer T-Dog.
Yeah.
That's the image I want to portray because, you know, I acknowledge that I'm a role model. And you know, I've been seen by millions of people on the television screen and on the big screen. So I have a duty because given my background, like I said, what I've experienced, I ran the streets as a kid. And, you know, I sold drugs, which kids, you say no to drugs. I basically became a product of my environment. And I carried a pistol and I did all that stuff. Everything that, you know, you see in the movies, what comes along with it, was kind of like that. Like my mother, I lost her when I was 18. So she died from HIV-related illnesses, and I basically just wanted to serve as an example for those coming behind me, because I know how tough it can be for you know, people that are in such a dire situation, and humanity at large. You know, we all have our issues and our problems, so I was like, I want to be a part of solving these problems, not contributing to them, you know, in a negative way. So I would love to have a character such as T-Dog. And the other characters are fun because I'm an actor for a reason, so I like to mix it up a little bit every now and then. For the most part, that's how I want people to see me. That's how I want the world to view me. And when I die, I feel like, you know, God will be pleased and open the pearly gates. Come on home, son. Gabriel, don't close the gate. What you doing?
Some of these actors are in trouble then. So it's interesting that you say, yeah, which actors do you think are going to get into heaven? No, I'm just kidding. It's interesting that you say a product of your environment, because that really makes sense. It's like, unless something happens, that's what's going to happen with all these kids. They're just doing what they know, right? So I want to know how you broke out of that, and you know, what you think kids need to break out of that.
I think that the major moment for me was, you know, I had an epiphany the night my mother died. And it was a couple of weeks before I graduated from high school, and I was getting ready to go out, and I walked in, and my grandmother told me, she said, well, you know, your mom, she said Cat. You know, I called the Cat, she said she died. And I didn't know how to take that. And it was the toughest moment of my life, ever, and nothing has come close to that. That single moment. And I went upstairs and I was in my bedroom, and or a bedroom that I shared with several other people and brother and cousins, and I got on my knees and I just started to pray. And I said, God, because I was tired of life. You know, I didn't want to go on. So I just said, you know, God, give me a sign. I don't even know why I'm here. I said, you know, give me a sign right now. I said, show me the light. And I literally said that like in my head. And at that time, a car came around the corner, and its headlights shone through my window and reflected off my wall and illuminated my entire room. And I think God knew I needed that at the time, or else I probably would have gone out and gotten hurt or hurt somebody else, ended up in prison, because I was so angry, and I was just feeling, you know, so many different ways. I just didn't know how to feel it. I didn't know how to accept it either. And at that time, when I saw that light, it was an experience that I'm almost sure I will never experience again. Almost positive. And it told me that I have a purpose here on earth. And God allowed me to go through everything I went through for a reason. And at that moment, I became determined to make sure that my mother's life meant something, and that it wasn't lived in vain. And because she was a crack addict and an alcoholic. And so I said, I'm going to make her life mean something, and the only way I can do that is by continuing to strive, push forward, and to love everybody I come in contact with. I'm sorry. Let me take a sip of water.
I want to thank you for being so open about that. That's
Yeah.
Good.
You know, not said, I mean, I just want to love and respect every single person I come in contact with, because it makes my life meaningful, and it lets me know that my mother's life wasn't lived in vain, because she had me.
She'd be so proud of you. She'd be so proud.
Thank you. Thank you. That's water. That is no tears. It's water. Okay.
Very manly.
Yes.
So, I heard you have this show, this one-man show. It's based on your story, right? Your book. Things
It
that you're
is.
talking about right now. I
It
see.
is.
Yeah.
It's called Blindsided by the Walking Dead, based on the book. Somebody come in and said, wow, this guy on Twitter, he is determined to get that story out, because I started it as a book, and now it's a one-man show, and the goal is to get it produced as a movie. We're pushing that.
That's great. Yeah.
Yes, I tell the story on stage in an hour, 45 minutes, and I play 18 different characters. And I, and I play everybody from my deceased mother to God to, Hoochie Mama. Hi, girl. I play a thug. I play an Englishman. I play an Asian, Hispanic, and just so many different characters on stage. I think this is my biggest challenge ever. And I'm looking forward to it. Opening next week in Athens, Georgia, November 8th.
I see we have a question over here. So.
All right, yes, ma'am. Hi.
This was like for you.
Oh, to get T-Dog.
Yeah.
My agent called me. He said, "Are you interested in being a part of a zombie show?" I was like, "No." Well, I'll tell you, there's a reason behind that, because as a kid, my man, I'm telling my mom, she would take me to watch all these horror movies, me and my brother, and we watched Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the scary stuff. What'd you say? I'm telling you, I was like, and it traumatized me though. I was traumatized, so I had no interest in doing horror, period. And then he said that Frank Darabont and Gail Ann Hurd were the producers on the project. I said, let me see the script. Let me see the size. Because they're legends in the industry, you know? They're great. So once I saw the script and I auditioned, and the name implied something totally different from what Frank Darabont expected. It said T-Dog. I said, oh, T-Dog, oh, T-Dog. So I auditioned that way, and Frank called back, and he called my agent back and said, well, no, I want him to do it another way. Do it this way. I don't want to play it like that. And because typically, well, that's what you think of. You see a T and initial first, and then the dog afterwards, but not.
That's what I thought when I heard the name. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
right.
it's
You know,
a gang.
kind of like the stereotypical gang member type situation. And I thought that because I was fresh off The Blind Side. And I think Frank, you know, he watched the movie and maybe he was like, I want that type character. So that's what I was trying to do. And I did it another way, and I got the call immediately. The next day, maybe a few weeks later or something like that, and he told me I had the part. And when I showed up, it went like that. I showed up, I was just looking to make just make another check. I'm like, oh, I get to work again to pay some bills. And because they told me that I would work only 2 or 3 episodes, and I ended up working for 3 seasons.
Thank
So now are you still watching the show?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's my
You're a
favorite show on
fan?
TV still. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm trying to find out why Carol's burning people. What's going on? I need to call Melissa right now.
Yeah, can you call
We
her
can talk
in?
about that.
I'd like to know that too.
Yeah, I need to know what's going on. Let's see if she answers. Oh, is she here? She's here though. Oh, she's here tomorrow. Okay, let me call her. She's probably what? Oh, flying in.
She probably is.
Melissa.
Hello?
Melissa. This is her.
Yeah, hold on a minute. Hang on.
She got it. She got all of us.
Are we on more than one call?
Why are you burning bodies, Melissa? Are we on more than one call? No. No, that's the mic. That's the microphone. I'm at the panel here. And I and the rest of the panel, we're all curious as to why you're burning
Hold
bodies.
on a minute. I gotta turn my potty mouth off.
No. I know you're not at liberty to speak on it much, but I know everybody just wanted to hear your voice. But I'm gonna let you go, sweetheart. Everybody's looking forward to seeing you here tomorrow, okay? Love you, guys. All right. Talk to you later. Bye. So maybe we'll find out next week. We'll find out Sunday. Maybe.
There's this big theory that she didn't actually do it. She's covering for a psycho.
Oh, really? That's your theory?
Well, that's not my theory, but I agree with it. Yeah, I think she's just covering up.
Who thinks Carol did it?
You know what?
All right, who thinks it?
You think who? Carl. What's? I'm like Carl. What if it's Carl?
Lizzie did it.
You think so? You think so? Came back from the dead, right? Literally Walking Dead. Wow.
We have a question from the audience.
Lizzie.
Hi, this is kind of a serious question. I had trouble with the way you sort of let your wife go at the CDC, because you're such a compassionate character, and you even wanted to help Merle when he didn't value your life at all. And was there more to that scene that was edited out? Did you have any trouble with that?
Actually, the thing about it was that, Jackie, she was not my wife.
Oh, she wasn't your wife?
No, she wasn't.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I thought she was.
Oh, really? Who all thought that Jackie was my wife?
Oh, I did, sorry.
Yes.
All right, sorry.
But I still tried to save her, though. I was like, I still
Right.
want her
Oh,
to
well, that's good.
come with
Okay,
me.
so that was a dumb question.
You didn't see that look on my face? I said, wait, she said, I'm going to stay here. I said, what?
You didn't have much time. You only had like 10 seconds to get out or something.
10 seconds to get right. We had a little time for that.
But the CDC is still there, right? Still in Atlanta, still there.
No, we blew it up. It's gone. It is gone. Have you driven by lately? We blew that sucker up.
No wonder there's a sickness now in prison.
Right, that's what's going.
I wanted to tell you, we have this podcast that we do about the show, and one of our listeners sent in, he didn't say exactly what I'm going to say, but you get the idea. He said, epiphany FF, not T-Dog F. That was his whole email.
Yeah, but
So-
you know, not using it.
Right.
So we made t-shirts, so I'll have to send you one.
I'm gonna have to wear that one inside in the house with the jacket over it. Because my kids, they actually see me at home.
Another question over here?
Hi, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the book writing process. Like, did you sit down to a, computer and write that out yourself, or you're working with someone who?
No.
Like-
No, definitely. With my schedule, plus I don't have the expertise like that. I've done my share of writing. I write screenplays and stage plays, but a book, no. I employed Juliet Terzia, and she did a wonderful job on the book, putting it all together. I did some writing, I did some tweaking, and went back over. Also, my wife did some tweaking too, because she plays a really vital role. She played a really vital role in the writing of the book. So, brought the brilliant mind of Juliet Terzia in, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful book. And I'm not just saying that because it's my book. I mean, that's part of it. Don't get me wrong. But I think my favorite book was Dr. Wayne Dyer's Inspiration. Had anyone ever heard of that? Yes. It's an amazing book, right? It's an amazing book. Now, Dr. Wayne Dyer focuses more on the metaphysical, like, you know, they're just the spiritual stuff and everything, the abstract for the most part. And I think the reason why, and my second favorite book was Michael S. Lewis's The Blind Side.
That's a good book.
That's, you know, that's a great book. I love that book. And, but after putting my book together, that's my #1 book. It's like that. And I just think that it's real. It's very raw, it's honest. And it talks about overcoming trials and tribulations. And maybe because it's just close to my heart, but I still think that Juliet Terzieff did a phenomenal job of putting everything together. And, you know, hopefully if you get an opportunity to get a copy, then please do. Please do.
Hey, was there any part of the book that you and your wife disagreed?
Yeah, that's it. Case closed. No, we go back. We met each other in the 9th grade. So we've been together 25 years. And I tell you guys, I wouldn't be here if it were not for her.
What's her name?
Carmelita.
Carmelita.
And I actually met her in the 8th grade, but she didn't know it. I stalked her. I was a stalker. I was a Walker Stalker for about a year, and then I got the courage to approach her. And once I approached her, it was 9th grade, and I said, "Give me a call or something like that if you get a chance." She said, "Oh, you sure?" She did that about 15 times, just threw my number away, and she finally got tired of me bugging her, and she called me, and the rest is history. So we grew together. We think alike. She's my soulmate, and there's no disagreement on anything, basically.
You're a lucky guy. That's awesome.
I'm just blessed that she stayed with me throughout that whole process and getting all of the cleansing myself, so to speak, you know, and through my transformation, she's a wonderful person to have saved her like that.
She must have undergone some transformation too to be with you like that, through that?
She's been there.
She's been there.
I think at birth. I think she was born like that. I think that God just brought her into my life because I needed her to get through that, you know. A lot of the dirt I did, like even messing around, infidelity, you know, I did that stuff, and I tried to did my best to keep it from her, keep it away from her, you know, in high school or whatever, in college. And I think that, and I want to say, obviously, maybe I didn't care as much about it because of what I was doing. I thought I loved to do it, but I was used to a certain way. I grew up in a home with pimps, hustlers, gangsters, and I was the youngest. So I basically kind of emulated what I saw, and then that was the stuff I saw around me. So it was just second nature for me to mess around with different women and whatnot. And the expression was, just make sure your girl doesn't catch you. That was like, okay, you're a good guy because you don't disrespect your woman. But I was doing all that stuff on the side. But I was discreet, considering all things, I was discreet because I didn't want her to catch me and I didn't want to hurt her. And then when we got to college, I was like, this is madness. I met, people from different cultures, ethnicities, and walks of life, and they, everybody had an effect on me, and I saw a different world, and it opened me up tremendously. So I didn't have that tunnel vision, what I had experienced in the project. So I was like, okay, so there's a better way, and I was just, I was on that journey. I was just trying to find a better way constantly, and she helped me do that.
Good.
Oh, that's lovely.
Question over here.
Thank you. I heard that there's going to be a Walking Dead spinoff, and so I just want to know, can we look for you to be a main character in that?
Maybe I need to call Robert Kirk. I don't know. I hope so. I think that's, that would be nice.
We'd like to see you there.
I'm maintaining a great relationship with everybody at AMC. They're all wonderful over there. I have a blog spot. They've given me part of their blog spot. Robert Kirkman and Brian Huntington over there at the Walking Dead page. So every Friday, I'm supposed to do a blog called T-Dog, it's Friday. I'm supposed to do that, and I haven't been able to do that yet. Oh my goodness. But it's 12:30 over there, so I should catch it before the business ends. And Gail and Hurd, and you know, I have a fabulous relationship with them over there at Valhalla. So maybe. You just never know.
Put it up for you.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
We'll twit it up.
Oh, good. Okay. Please do. Let them know. Let them hear it.
And what's your question?
I'm just wondering, other than your work as an actor and your book and your amazing marriage, what projects are you involved in that you're particularly proud of?
The Blind Side. The Blind Side is one. That's the first one, and I think that it was that project was a godsend. And it kind of all came together for me at that time, because when I saw the sides, meaning like the audition piece, I told my wife, I told my uncle, and I said, this part is mine, because I knew that character so well. You know, I possessed a lot of those traits that character had, and I saw that around me coming up, and I said, now it's all making sense. I went through that stuff so that I could be prepared for this role right here. And it was second nature to me, you know. I would have to say The Walking Dead because of its symbolism. And The Walking Dead is symbolic of life and what we go through on a daily. You know, we although our situation is, you know, not as extreme as it is on the show, but you can kind of say that we're experiencing somewhat of an apocalypse ourselves with the state of the economy, people struggling to feed their families, and people having medical insurance, but their employers won't allow them to use it because of whatever reason they come up with. So now the parents have to figure out, how am I going to, you know, pay for this surgery that my child needs, or she or he is going to die. And it's kind of bad. I was talking to somebody, I can't remember exactly who, my driver who brought me here. He said that's why he can relate to the show so much, because of the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs. Like we as human beings, we experience that, you know, on a regular. So people just watch the show, find a certain character that they can relate to most, or they may be able to relate to all of them, and they just dive in and they love the show. I think that's one of the reasons people love the show so much.
Thank you.
I hope I answered your question. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me.
Hi there. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's been great.
Over here.
Oh! It looked like, wait a minute, you were trying to trick me, right? You were pantomiming. You were doing this. You're like, trick me. Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I don't know if this was cut out of the episode, but the audience did not get to see a zombified T-Dog. So I was wondering, can you show us what a zombie T-Dog would be like? Like an impression?
Let me see a zombie. Oh my God, you put me on the spot. What's a zombified T-Dog? What would he be like? What'd you say? You gotta have. Oh yeah. This is a zombified T-Dog. Satisfied with my zombie? All right.
Hey, one of my favorite.
Wait a minute. No. I was making sure you're not tripping again.
One of my favorite scenes with you is the rooftop scene where you go back to get Merle, but we all know that that didn't happen because of what happened with the key. I have to ask you, what did you draw from experience-wise to, I know you're wrestling with your conscience, you're thinking, why do I want to go get this guy when he's been so mean to me? How did you kind of conjure up the emotion that you showed in that scene and all of the things kind of leading into that?
Well, you know, I genuinely wanted to go back and save Merle because that's something that I would have done. I don't know if I would have to probably attribute my dropping the key maybe to Merle's karma in a sense, you know, and what he represented, and maybe that's part of why that happened. I don't know if maybe subconsciously though, it was like, was I thinking, you know, well, why don't I just take a little spill here and drop this key? Just subconsciously underneath. But, you know, that's how we are as human beings. We have layers to us. So, mixed emotions in a sense, but overwhelmingly wanting to go back to save Merle, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's really interesting. That's cool. Not just a random accident.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that simple. Right. It's just not as simple as that. More to it.
Hi. So, do you have a theory of how T-Dog joined the group in the first place? Like you said, he was driving the elderly to the church. Do you have a theory about, like, zombie apocalypse happened, how did he get to the group?
That was one thing that I think the writers, I was told, they were exploring, and actually Frank Darabont was interested in exploring, you know, before, you know, what happened to him before his sudden departure. And I've given it a little thought, probably, definitely not as much as Frank Darabont. I'm thinking that he was probably helping the elderly get to the church and got caught up on the ways. And very, very rudimentary thinking about this on my part, but he got caught up on the way, and a lot of the elderly people died, and some were saved. He was able to save some in that van. You saw the van, and just kind of ended up connecting downtown in the city with the group, and found out that they had that, you know, the camp, and went back to the camp. So very, very, very simple. I didn't give it too much thought.
Was he friends with Glenn already, pre-apocalypse?
I would have to say, given, you know, what Glenn said in season 3, yes, but I didn't give that too much thought beforehand, you know, but I would say so, yes.
Awesome to see you here.
I love you. Thank you.
When you were on the set, was there anything like funny and quirky things that people would do when you weren't shooting?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
No, any cameras rolling? No cameras are rolling. No, I would tell you about that. I do talk about the whale walker scene. I talk about that, and people, and they thought I was joking when I shot that scene. You know, the whale walker was disgusting, right? I could barely get through it because that morning, Rita's, I was eating sausage links. They were some disgusting looking sausage links, right? They looked like, you know what, poopy. And Rita's looked at it, he got on the van, we were headed to the set. He got on, he said, "Hey, what's that you eating, poop?" I said, "What?" I said, "Come on, Rita's didn't." So he kind of spoiled my appetite a little bit. When I got to the set, I had that image in my mind. And so while we were shooting that scene, I had that thought in my mind and looking at that disgusting walker, so I started to gag while we were shooting. And Billy, who was directing the episode, and I kept doing that. He walked over to me and said, "Okay, all right." He said, "Now, that's really good with the gag. That's good. But I want you to try something else." I can't help this, Billy. I'm gagging, man. I'm choking. I can't get through the scene. So they got a big laugh from that, though. Yeah. But I think payback came, though, during season 3, when we were at the first episode. first episode, we were at the house, remember that? And there was, we were smelling something. We're like, oh my goodness, what is that smell? And come to find out there was poop in the house. Like real, yeah. And Lincoln and Rita's, Rick and Daryl, both stepped in the poop. They were over there in the area the whole time. But we knew it in advance, but we didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Payback is something else, isn't it?
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
So can I ask why you're working in houses where there's poop?
I have no idea. I thought that was just all Hollywood, but it seems as though they didn't have to do any work at that place. They just got there. Yeah, this will work. 7 men, boys. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe, you know, they scouted the place out and did that. Maybe somebody got in overnight, you know, while the crew was not there. I have no idea how that happened.
Hopefully it wasn't intentional. Next question.
Right.
The zombified T-Dog was adorable. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the question is, so whenever the cast loses a main character, how does everyone find out? Is it just a matter of everybody being on their own with their script, reading it and finding out, or is it something that you talk about beforehand, before you even get the script? I mean, do you know before you got the script that you were no longer going to be with them?
Yes, I did, and I found out a month in advance. And Glenn Mazar and I would play phone tag again. You know, I'm hard to track down when you're trying to kill me. It's going to be hard to find me, but he called me and he said, IronE, I need to talk to you. Bye. What? Normally, if I get a call from Glenn, it's like, you know, he leaves a message, he tells me what it's relating to, but he said nothing like that. I kind of figured that was the call, so I started to avoid it. We went back and forth. I just avoided the call. I was like, Glenn, this is IronE. Calling you back. Bye. He back. Like, hello. But he finally tracked me down, and he was like, hey, your time on the set has been great. We love everything that you've done with the T-Dog, and you know, we appreciate it all. But it's time to say goodbye to T-Dog. And that was a month in advance. Other cast members, like perhaps the main cast members, they probably knew about it. Other cast members, they got the script and they read it. And the extras on the set, the zombies were like flabbergasted because they had no clue. And when the director was like, okay, so you come here, then you bite T-Dog on the neck, and they were like, oh. They went from, so they had no clue that T-Dog was about to die. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go out.
I talked to the guy who hit you when I was.
You talked to him?
Yeah, he said.
Where is he?
He's shambling around in the woods. I forget. He said that. Yeah, he told you just really give it to him because you were a little worried that you were going to hurt him because I think he was kind of a small guy.
Yeah, I told him. You know, he was being all gentle.
Yes.
I said, man, I can handle this. Just jump on my back, do whatever you have to do, and make it look as gruesome as possible. Don't hold back anything. He did it like that maybe 3 or 4 times. I said, yeah, just do it like this, and work him around a little bit. And he got used to it. He did a great job.
Yeah.
He did a great job. But tell him I'm looking for him. Tell him Alton from The Blind Side is looking for him.
Thank you for being here, I want to say first.
Thank you.
I kind of hate to ask my question because it's kind of serious, but anyway. I'm a teacher, and as a teacher, I've taught a lot of kids with the kind of history you have. I wonder if you have any ideas about how to reach out to children in the same kind of situations you were in.
Yes, and that came up early, and I didn't elaborate on it. Oh, I'm sorry about that, but they need hope, and they need more than complaining about it. My thing is, I started writing rhymes just because I was tired of complaining about the negativity that was being put out there with, you know, I guess with just music period, but with more particularly with the rappers, because that's, you know, where I come from, rap is very popular. So I was listening to the radio back in 2004, and I heard a popular artist come on the radio, and it was misogynistic, you know, and it was lots of raunchy material. And I just started writing. I was actually Homer the Brave. We're in Atlanta. I'm talking about, you know Homer the Brave? The baseball head for the Braves. I was Homer the Brave for 9 years. And I was on my way to an appearance, and I was trying to put my head on, and the song came on, and I started listening to it, and I said, oh, I was so disgusted. And I just, at that time, I put the head down and just started writing rhymes. Because I want to offer hope, and I feel like I don't have a right to complain about something if I'm not willing to do something about it. So I think that, you know, we as society, as a people, if we're going to complain about it, we need to be willing to do something about it. They need hope. They need to feel like there's a better tomorrow. And when I was there, you know, there was none of that. You know, there wasn't much of it. There wasn't much of it. So I think that the simplest act, just going there and offering just the slightest bit of encouragement could go a long way. Anything is you know, be helpful. So it doesn't have to be something so amazing like, you know, you donate $1 million for this cause or whatever. It's just maybe giving of your time or something like that. With me, not even being in a position where I'm not A-list status or anything like that, and funds are, compared to other actors in the industry, funds are quite limited. But God put it on my heart to start a group, and it's IronE Singleton Presents Young Voices United. And so it's about taking kids from underprivileged environments and teaching them the arts, but also really teaching them to be productive citizens in society. So if we can go there and we can maybe, you know, teach a child, you know, grammar, something like that, they feel like, you know, make them more included in what's going on. Just any little thing.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Hey, God bless you.
Have them read IronE's book.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, we're out of time, so I just want to thank you so much for coming and doing this.